Hi girls, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. I'm really excited for today's video because it is exactly 1 year later and we are going to do a check-in on my glow up to 40. So over the last year, I have been sharing my glow up to 40 journey here on YouTube. And over the last 12 months, I've been filming and posting videos. You can check out my entire playlist. I will have that linked for you in the description box down below. But I have been sharing a variety of different videos of what I'm doing to actually move the needle to help feel my absolute best by the time I reach 40. And that time is now. I'm turning 40 exactly 1 week from today. So I thought it would be a really good opportunity to kind of sit down and chat with you about the things that I have tried over the last year, and out of everything I've tried, what's actually making a difference. I have some notes that I've been writing down over the last year in a Google document, and I just pulled out like all of my highlights essentially that I noticed are making the largest impact, because not all of us have a year to glow up, even though I will say that if you're trying to glow up to 30 to 25 to 45 to 55, 65, whatever age that you are trying to glow up towards, I want us to be realistic with ourselves and set aside a substantial amount of time, because however we're feeling currently today, we didn't get into this position overnight. It has been days and weeks and months of potentially maybe neglecting our fitness, and that was most definitely me, or neglecting our sleep and our rest. The amount of time that it takes to get back into a healthy habit, I think also kind of needs to be in correlation and also needs to reflect the amount of time that we've been out of that good healthy habit as well. So I hope that makes sense, because while I know not all of us have a year to dedicate to feeling our absolute best, you will begin to see substantial changes even just 1, 2, 3 weeks in, and then talk about like 3, 4 months in, you're going to feel like a different person. But in order to see the full picture and really be able to look back and say like, wow, I noticed that I have dramatically improved this area of my life and that area of my life, I also want us to be realistic and not put these insane expectations on ourselves. So first and foremost, I have to say that my protein coffee, and I know I talk about this coffee in nearly every single video, but my protein coffee is something that I have been making on a very regular basis. I've been experimenting with using gelatin and protein powder alongside my collagen since September and October, but I've always added in the Dr. Josh Axe protein powder and the Dr. Josh Axe collagen. I've always been adding that into my coffee for years. But then around October, November, really into December, January, and February, I started adding in those 2 scoops of gelatin. And oh my goodness, I do not mean to sound dramatic when I say that this is absolutely life-changing. If you're like me and you're somebody who's drinking coffee in the morning, you might as well hack it completely to get at least 35 grams of protein in your morning coffee. So I still wake up, I still have my lemon ginger tonic, and then I move into my protein coffee. And while I do know that some people are sensitive to having caffeine or coffee on an empty stomach, I am not somebody who suffers and or is sensitive to having coffee on an empty stomach, but this would completely eradicate that problem for you. So we do want to use cow's milk in this recipe because we want to help turn the gelatin and the collagen into a complete protein. And that is why it's important to add in the raw or the whole cow milk, because then we're able to get that full protein amino acid serving and help your body absorb, assimilate, and utilize these beautiful nutrients. So I have to say, first and foremost, my protein coffee has been making the biggest difference. Then kind of progressing throughout my day, I have been preaching on this YouTube channel for 6 years about getting sunlight first thing in the morning, as early as you can. Either stepping outside, looking up into the sky indirectly at the sun, do not look directly at the sun, but looking up into the sky indirectly at the sun and really getting in that vitamin D. Or in the winter months, looking outside of a window as soon as the sun comes out. Back in the fall, Kai and I did purchase an infrared sauna that has red light therapy in it. And if you watch any of my morning routine or my day in the life videos, you know that I wake up very, very early. So I'm up, because I do live in the Midwest, I am up for hours before the sun actually comes out. So getting sun first thing in the morning is never really first thing in the morning for me, even in these beautiful summer months. So I noticed that back in the fall and in November and December, when I was hopping into the sauna and I was turning myself to look at the red light panels, I felt a huge increase in energy. And I thought, okay, it's probably because I'm getting a little bit of a cardio-esque workout in the sauna. I'm sweating first thing. It's really helping to wake me up. And then I'm moving into cold therapy, which we will get to next. So I thought that was the reason why. And then I did collaborate with Bond Charge and I featured their red light therapy mask. And I was doing that in the evening time. And I thought, you know what? Let's move that red light therapy mask into the morning on the days I'm not getting into the sauna. And so I started wearing the red light mask first thing in the morning when I woke up, as I'm making the lemon ginger tonic, as I'm making my protein coffee, and I was doing it for 8 minutes. And sure enough, I noticed the same exact effects on my energy and on my mood as I did as I was getting into the sauna, or on a morning when I sleep a little bit later and I'm getting that indirect sunlight. So I have to say, red light therapy / sun exposure first thing in the morning has been so unbelievable for my cognition and for my sustained energy throughout the day. Then after I do that red light mask or the sauna, I've been loving doing some cold therapy. Now, I am somebody who is always freezing. As somebody who has Hashimoto's thyroiditis that has been in remission for over a decade, I still do suffer from being somebody who is pretty much cold all of the time. And so cold therapy sounds like the absolute worst thing in the entire world to me. But I will say that after doing the sauna or after doing the red light mask and dunking my face into ice in like 15 to 20 minute increments for up to 60 seconds has been life altering. Not only, again, for that sustained energy throughout the day, cognition, but also for my skin health. So I've been talking a ton on this Globe to 40 about my skin, the integrity of my skin, using the gelatin, using all of that beautiful collagen, using the red light mask, and using this ice therapy, cold therapy on my face. While of course I'm not reversing wrinkles and I'm not aging backwards, I really do think that I'm glowing backwards. I feel as though I can confidently say that my skin today, here we are 1 week, 2 weeks from turning 40, has 30 to 40% more of a vibrancy and glow to it than it did 1 year ago. So I feel as though these little tiny habits that we layer and stack on top of each other make an absolute substantial difference in the integrity of our skin and how our skin actually glows from the inside out. And then I know if you have access to the internet, over the last 2 years, castor oil has been all the craze, but that is honestly for good reason. I used to do castor oil packs over a decade ago, and they are nowhere near what they are like today. So I've been sharing with you girls over the last year how I've been doing castor oil packs in the sauna. I've been doing castor oil packs with a heat pad on, and then I've been sharing a variety of different ways I've been using castor oil, whether that's through my DIY navel oiling recipe or my DIY skin smoothing recipe. And I have to say that the castor oil packs in combination with the DIY navel oiling is making a massive difference in my sleep. Of course, I always take the Bioptimizer's Magnesium Breakthrough. No, this is not in collaboration with Bioptimizers. It's just an absolute staple in my day-to-day routine. But that in combination with using a castor oil pack 3 to 4 times per week, it does not have to be right before bed. It can be while you sleep. It can be in the morning. It can be while you're cooking dinner. I will have my favorite castor oil pack link for you in the description box down below, because the advancement in castor oil packs is amazing. It used to be such a mess and really cumbersome, where now you just Velcro them on, you're mobile, and you can be free to move on with your day. But I will say that castor oil has been part of this glow up, because I have been on a tretinoin journey now for about a year and a half, I think. And I've been pairing that with my castor oil on my face. And therefore, I'm not as photosensitive when I'm using the tretinoin. Aside from that don't use tretinoin, I'm using the castor oil on my face. And then when it comes to navel oiling, I have been preaching for years about the importance of our liver health and how it is so vital that we protect our major organs, our lymphatic system, because all of that feeds into a healthy endocrine system. And so when we practice little things like navel oiling and then waking up in the morning and flushing our digestive system, flushing out that liver bile with the lemon ginger tonic, it's truly one of the easiest ways to support your endocrine system. But doing that navel oiling before bed, I am completely knocked out in 10 to 15 minutes. If I want to read my book, I have to be careful about not putting my navel oil in too soon, as I won't even be able to make it through 3 to 4 pages because I am completely wiped out. So I will say that using and integrating castor oil in all of these variety of ways has absolutely contributed not only to the sleep I'm getting, therefore how I'm feeling, the energy I have, the way that my skin looks the next day, but just peppering in castor oil multiple times throughout your day in all of these different ways is such a beautiful way to glow up regardless of what age you're turning. And one thing I absolutely have to mention is lifting heavier weights or lifting in general. A year ago today, I was quite simply walking, doing a little bit of Pilates and yoga here and there, but not being super consistent with any type of regular exercise other than getting at least 15,000 steps per day, walking multiple miles per day. But when it came to lifting heavy weights, there was absolutely no routine. And I am so happy to say that a year later, I have really dedicated myself to lifting weights at least twice per week at a workout class that I have signed up for that I started doing last August. And my strength has increased tremendously. I am still working on building my muscle mass and increasing my muscle, but more than anything, I just noticed that everything feels easier, as silly as that sounds, but like carrying the hamper up and down the stairs or lifting heavier groceries. It just feels like things in life, being a mom, being a parent, doing all of the chores that I have to do for the kids and lifting their heavy soccer bags and moving the car seats in and out of the car. Those things, while I did obviously a ton of cardio by doing at least 15,000 steps per day, they didn't help with my actual strength. And so I'm so proud and I'm so grateful to myself for continuing the journey of lifting heavier weights. I'm only getting started. I'm 1 year in. I hadn't really lifted weights in 10 years prior to that, to be honest with you. Like when I got pregnant with Ronan and then when I had him, sure, I was doing yoga, but I wasn't lifting any heavy weights. So it had been a decade. Now I'm only 1 year into the journey and I'm excited to see in another year from now how much stronger I feel and how much stronger I look, because I can already see the changes in my body. And I know that if I keep going, I keep gaining this muscle mass, that I'm only going to feel and look better than I do today. So I'm really grateful to myself that I actually continued with it. I stuck with the workout classes. Of course, there were periods of time where I was a little bit inconsistent because life got busy, but I bounced back. Whereas, a year or two ago, if I would have gotten off track, I would have never recovered from that and bounced right back. So I'm grateful that I've definitely been able to stick with this routine. And the last thing I will say, on this glow up to 40, I think the most important thing has been, above everything else I've shared so far, is keeping promises to myself. If I say that I want to go to the workout class, or if I say that I'm going to do the DIY navel oiling, or if I say I'm going to make the protein coffee, that I actually follow through with the promises that I'm making to myself. Sure, I think there's a huge amount of accountability that I have because I've been filming this series for the internet to see, and you guys are all right here. And I know that I have a community that I have to show up for and that I'm accountable to when I say I'm going to do something. So I will say, I think that was a huge motivator, but it really did help hold me accountable. And it did help me keep these promises that I made to myself a year ago in that very first video where I announced that I was going to be filming this journey and this entire glow up to 40. So even if you're not picking up a camera and you're not filming it for the world to see, I want you to comment in the comment section down below. It doesn't matter if you're turning 21 or 71. I would love to know the promises that you want to keep to yourself to help feel better on your glow up journey, because when we put something out there and we know other people are watching, it really does help us keep these promises. And the more often you keep a promise to yourself, the more likely you are to continue with that positive momentum. So I want to thank you girls so much for being on this journey with me, and not to worry, the overall consensus is I can continue the series up through my 40th year. And I think all of us are just enjoying seeing these motivational tips, myself included. So we're definitely going to continue this series, but I do want to thank you all so much for your support on this journey as I've kind of been, rediscovering myself and who I am after a decade of being a mom, growing a practice, growing a community. It's just been interesting to kind of relearn what I enjoy, what's helping me feel my best. And I hope that it's been inspiring and motivating for all of you. If you like today's video, you can let me know by giving it a big thumbs up. And now the subscribe button is right over here on the screen. Give that a click. That way you don't miss a single video. And I hope to see you back here next Thursday.